Hey there, Freakazoids. What's going on? It's Angela Black here at Revolution Radio at this moment. Every Thursday night on Studio B here at Revolution Radio. We are the number one 100% listener-supported radio station on the planet and possibly beyond, which we may need to colonize in the near future. Anyway, I'm going to slow down. I'm talking way too fast. Let's start there. Deep breath. Yeah, there we go. I didn't ask you to do it with me. Let's do it together. Are you ready? Let's do it in and out. Ready? And out. I know I needed that. Okay. I think I'm going to start over. Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Black. This is Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the number one 100% listener-supported radio station on the planet and possibly beyond. And if that is the case, then we may be colonizing that place beyond in the near future anyway, because this planet sucks. Sorry. Hold on. All right. Let me just drag my guest in and see if he's available. I'm really excited. I'm going to tell you all about it in just a second. Yeah, so if I'm editing this for my archives, I will be restarting at that point. I'm not really sure. So anyway, yes, so we are the 100% listener-supported radio station on the planet, the best one, the only one, the bestest of them all. And the way to keep this truth boat floating is, of course, to find the donate button at the side of the chat room or the site support tab at the top of the homepage. And you can find yourself with amazing prizes for your donations, including, let's see, the archives, for instance. That's $5 a month. And you can check out all of the shows that happened in the day prior and in the months prior and the years prior, etc., by simply subscribing for $5 a month. And it's impossible to listen to both studios A and B at all times with both ears and have a life here on Revolution Radio. So I highly suggest getting the archives subscription for the $5 donation per month. And another great way to find yourself donating to the cause and also ending up with cool prizes on the back end is the $100 seed pack. It's a $100 donation for 35,000 seeds and a 1 ounce silver bar through the month of April. Yeah, a 1 ounce silver bar comes along with the seeds. It's seeds, it's silver, it's satisfaction. So how can you go wrong? Anyway, so that's all. Again, I'm the girl that's here for the next 2 hours, and I'm really lucky because I've got this really cool guy here for the next 2 hours as well. He's a host here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com on Mondays and Tuesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and that is on the Liberation Nation team. The one and only Earthplay is my guest tonight, and that was a half combination between the word today and tonight. Did you hear that? I'm talking too fast. It's what's happening. I said tonight. Okay, so.
Boy, that's a lot of praise that I have to live up to there, Angela.
Oh wait, I wasn't even done.
Okay.
So, Earthplay, by the way, has a YouTube channel, and I think you can find that at youtube.com/earthplayful, if I'm not mistaken. And just like it sounds, Earthplay.
Yeah, that was my former porn name.
Wow, and you've taken it to a new level and started to do non-porn things on YouTube.
Right.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm glad we can help you ascend here at Revolution Radio. So some of the things that you find yourself doing in a day would be being the geologist that you are, also an amateur astronomer. And I suppose if you had the chance, you'd probably be a professional astronaut. I'm guessing. I don't know. Just a thought. And go ahead.
About that, Angela. I'm not so sure.
Okay.
I would want to be an astronaut, but I'm an amateur geologist and astronomer, yes.
Okay. And also you're sponsored by Southwest Backpacker and the High Desert Gaming Society. And I'm assuming those are places in New Mexico?
They are. Mm-hmm. The associations that allow me and expose me to all the wonders here in the great Southwest. And all over through the Rocky Mountains.
Wow, that's so cool. So you'll backpack in a day. You'll do that. Oh,
yes, I will do that, definitely.
I don't do that too often. I live in the mountains and the woods, and I suppose if I did a lot of hiking, I would have a backpack. But I don't know. I think.
Oh, it's so amazing out there, Angela. There are so many geological stratas and uplifts. All the way back to the Jurassic period, all throughout the Rocky Mountains, and even we would consider ancient civilizations, but Indian civilizations, signs of the Inca. We have the Bandolero and the Aztec and cave dwellings, and we have all kinds of stuff out here. You just never know what you're going to run into, but you have to get out there to do it.
Wow. And are you a guide? Are you a guide for that?
Of sorts. You know, when you go into the same area of the Rockies for 20, 30 years, repeatedly over and over, week after week, you get an expertise when you've been four-wheeling, back on horseback, and I've even tried the river thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, tried the river thing.
Yeah. That's
what does that mean?
Well, one of my expedition partners talked me into going down the Rio Chama River, which is some of the most dangerous Rocky Mountain river stretch, at least in my mind, 26 miles, and it takes 2 days to go through those steep canyons and Class 2 and Class 3 rapids.
Wow.
And we were not only 2 hours into it when we had our collision with a landslide into the river, and we got sucked into a big boulder and stranded. Luckily, we both kept our senses and were able to rescue ourselves because we were about a couple of days from any kind of help.
Wow. And were you injured?
Just our pride.
Oh.
A few scrapes and bruises, and our egos were definitely bruised.
Oh, well, you know, I don't know. I suppose that's just a part of that.
But, this was one of my worst fears, and I faced it. I did it. We had a catastrophic accident. Actually, there was a TV series filmed from the cabin that we stay at our base camp called 72 on TNT network called 72 Hours, where they went down the last 13 miles of the river, and every team, even the professional guides, all of them wiped out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and we made it. That was the easy part of the trip for us.
The second 13 miles?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, because of the landslide, et cetera. All these things are reasons I don't do all of that. So, that's pretty awesome. You know, you're a man's man. You're hiking around. And if it's all right, I think I'm going to say it anyway. You are a married man, yes?
Yes.
And does your wife find herself in these hikes as well?
Well, she used to when I used to do car camping. Take her up to the mountains, to the hot springs, and the Jemez River to go fishing, and car camping. She used to do that, but now we go to rugged places far, far from any supermarkets or motels or any conveniences. When we're out there, we're actually on nature's dinner plate.
Wow, yeah, exactly. There's a food chain going on, and you're on it.
Yeah, and, it's not just bears and cougars and things of that nature. A swarm of 1 million gnats is a predator.
Yeah.
They can be very small. Ants, they're everywhere. Chiggers. So you just learn to adapt and how to avoid these things and what products work and what don't. Where to go and how to deal with it. So
you're the guy that everybody wants to know, when, let's see, what is it? The SHTF, when the so-and-so hits the fan, because you've been doing it now. You find yourself surviving out there in the woods with no conveniences. And, it's so important to either be that or know someone who's like I'd be one of those groupies, honestly, because, I do have a fair amount of knowledge on what to do, and I do find myself experimenting with natural ways to exist and not to buy that thing at the supermarket, herbs, etc. I experiment a lot with herbs and making them into not only tea but tinctures and or healing salve, etc. I'm getting better at that, but I'm looking at how to survive without the conveniences if in case all that happens. And so what do you find to be one of the most challenging things, being an experienced wilderness hiker in rocky terrain and rivers, etc., desert, all of it, and I'm assuming there's a fair amount of trees out there as well, or are there no trees in New Mexico where you hike?
Well, it depends on the terrain. I'm so fortunate to be in the company of guys that really enjoy doing this stuff. Going out into the desert with me, going out into the mountains. You mentioned the Southwest Backpacker. Our expedition teams have a large variety of skills and places that they have been to many times over the years. So I have the benefit of being in association with these people. But a trip that we recently did in the desert is a good example. This was in the Socorro Desert, and it was 9 degrees at daybreak. Yeah. So it was really cold. And the things that I find most important are staying dry and being able to protect yourself from the wind and the cold. So that's your most – and, of course, overnight, all of the water in the campsite froze solid. There was nothing you could do with it, because it was in the containers. But you learn how to fill up bottles and make sure they're in aluminum bottles and steel bottles, and fill up the coffee pot the night before, and how to prepare for it, and building fires. I've learned more about emergency fire building from my friend Matt in the last 6 months than I probably learned in the last 10 years.
Wow.
With just simple things like a fire piston.
Okay.
It uses compression to start a fire. It works every single time. Magnesium block. How to make a Swiss fire log, which are good for cooking and keeping warm. Just so many things that I've learned from these guys.
Wow.
So staying warm and out of the wind, out of the elements, I think.
Okay. And so on your backpack, it's funny, we're winging this, and I love what we're talking about already, because I really am curious as to who you are. You've been very gracious to me in your public statements that you enjoy my company, and you showed up on my show tonight, which I'm totally stoked about. And the respect goes back at you. I'm really stoked on that, and so I'm looking forward to finding out more about you.
I feel privileged to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, and I look forward to posting it on YouTube as well. And so anyway, continuing on. Okay, so you're backpacking, all right, which means you've got your shelter, you've got everything that you will need, hopefully. And so, how much does that thing weigh? Because are you bringing we're talking about shelter, to keep yourself shielded from the wind and the cold and maybe the rain. So what does that consist of, and how much does your backpack weigh?
Oh, my backpack weighs 45 pounds.
Okay,
that's my full mountain backpack. But usually we go to places where we take what we call a day pack. Okay. Which is like an abbreviated mountain backpack, just condensed down into a smaller pack. There are day pack. You carry a little bit of food and water, your rain gear, some rope. I carry my pistol, a couple of knives, hooks, all kinds of hooks, like for canvas hooks, tents. Mostly for my gear, or they could be used to sew up a wound. So they're kind of multi-use type of tools.
Not to mention, if they're big enough, you could pull somebody out of the river with it.
First aid kit. Well, I do carry 1/8-inch nylon rope to 1/2-inch nylon rope with me at all times. At least 50 feet.
I see.
That's part of my day pack. So things that I would need immediately that would be essential to my survival if I had to ditch my mountain backpack. Now, your day pack is a part of your mountain pack. Okay.
So you remove that. And how much does that weigh?
Probably, mine is probably 15 or 20 pounds, and you're dumping your mountain backpack. You're dumping like a sheet of canvas, your boots, extra ammo, canned food, things for longer duration. You sometimes you have to leave your mountain backpack behind. At like a base camp. Yes, at a base camp or high up in a tree, or we just leave it in our trucks at the base camp. Go out, take our day pack with us.
I see. And then return that evening after exploring whatever it is you're exploring. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know, you have 9 hours of daylight. It'll take you 3-4 hours to get somewhere, or just go for a hike in the Chama Wilderness.
Uh-huh. Okay, so that's cool. And now a fire piston, I'm going to look that up. You were talking about how to light a fire, and that's just it's a real necessity, and apparently it works every time. So, and did you say you have one, or you know how to build one, or what was it?
Well, it's a fire piston, and you can go to the Southwest Backpack YouTube channel.
Okay.
And he has a little demonstration that lasts 3-5 minutes or something. That shows it's a aluminum alloy tube that they use, and they put a little char cloth in the end of it. It's got a little hollow, and they compress it real hard, and it ignites the char cloth, and it starts on fire immediately every time. It's hard to explain, but it's just a small, simple tool. He tried to give it to me to put it in my backpack, and man, I kick myself every time I think about it. But go to the Southwest Backpacker YouTube channel and look for fire piston.
Okay.
That's
fire piston. All right, and you said you kicked yourself. They tried to give it to you one time and you didn't take it or something? And
yeah, because, I was experimenting with other types of fuels and how to start things. I got a cool torch from China that the Candyman gave me. I had magnesium block that I wanted to try out, and a few other, a steel wool and 9-volt battery, and keep them separate, folks. You don't want to start a fire in your backpack. So you have to be careful. I keep it in my first aid kit,
Oh, okay. All right. Now, in the chat room, by the way, my husband is actually in the chat room, and opening day is this weekend. He says hello. He's WB in the chat room. It's opening day this weekend for fishing up here in the Eastern Sierras, and so he's on his, he's packing up. He's leaving tomorrow, etc. And he's in the chat room asking, what type of pistol do you own?
I like to carry K-frame revolvers. My favorite is the .357 with the 6-inch barrel.
Okay.
K-frame and wood handle.
What does a K-frame mean to me? I don't really know.
It's a revolver. It has cylinders that you can pop the cylinders in and out.
I see.
Mine has an automatic ejection lever.
Okay.
So I use quick loaders, and it's a 6-shooter, cowboy 6-shooter.
Cool, and I'm assuming that quick loading is obviously a necessity.
Well, I carry a couple of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, with the .357, I really don't worry about it because it's only going to take 1 or 2 shots. It doesn't really matter what you hit or where you hit them. You're going to do massive damage. Mm-hmm. So it's only for self-defense.
Mm-hmm. And have you found yourself using it? Can we talk about that on air?
Not really. No, I can't claim that I've ever. The animals that I've run into have been by accident, and I wouldn't have even thought to have shot them. So I'm probably more concerned about the human predator than I am about a cat or something falling on top of me or a bear coming after me, because we're pretty cautious and we never go in alone. We make plenty of noise and make our presence known.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
cool.
we've learned how to move through nature and never really had any. We've accidentally run across black bears.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually ran into one on an ATV in the Rio Porco once.
Okay, ran into one meaning actually hit it?
Right. Yes. It went flying one way, I went flying the other way.
Wow. And we have them up here. For some odd reason, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to ask it to tea. I'm not going to say, let's have some tea. But I'm actually not really afraid of bears. I guess it'd be different if I was out there hiking. And I don't know. Bears don't really seem to want to harm people unless they're being messed with,
No, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So, they're just hungry. They're just walking around their territory, etc. Okay, and there's somebody in chat who may or may not know you, Kinman Rog.
Oh, boy.
And wants to know...
Canyon Man Roger.
Oh, yep. Okay, Canyon Man. Okay, well, hello, Canyon
He's
Man.
He's one of our expedition leaders, and he actually owns the cabin right in the middle of the Chama Wilderness.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. The Canyon Man can. Sorry.
Sure can.
Now, he says, he wants to know about the rat in your tent. At least he wants you to tell the audience.
Oh, boy. Jeez.
Which I think is pretty funny. Okay.
Well, we were in the, where were we? In the Quebraza mountain range in the Socorro Desert. And overnight, one of those kangaroo mice got into my tent.
Okay. A kangaroo mice? A kangaroo mouse?
Mouse, yes. A kangaroo mouse. And I looked them up, and they generally live within 800 yards of their hole their entire life.
Okay.
So their families are all around them. There's like lots of them. Mm-hmm. And we knew that they were there. They were scurrying around in our campsite while we were talking and drinking beer. But later that night, I woke up, and there was a dang kangaroo mouse in my tent. He bounced off the walls a couple of times, and I was cussing and trying to get the heck out of my sleeping bag and out of the tent. I could hear the other guys kind of giggling. They didn't know what was going on, but they learned early the next morning what had happened.
And are those, so why are they called a kangaroo mouse?
They're a kangaroo rat. That's
okay.
Exactly. They're like little teeny marsupials. They have these long feet. They hop really high, and
interesting.
They're really cute. But I don't like sharing my sleeping accommodations with them.
Right. I suppose not.
Ever heard of hantavirus?
No. What is it called?
Hantavirus.
Hantavirus.
It's a virus epidemic plague sometimes. Yeah, during some seasons and some years it's worse, and some years it's barely present, and it's inhaling or coming into contact with their dried feces and urine.
I see. Yeah, they have a plague that is apparent from time to time up here. You know, I live on Lake Tahoe, basically, and there's the mountains here. And I think the chipmunk population from time to time. They report that they found particular plague.
Rabies.
Well, no, this was I believe plague. What they were talking about with the plague in these chipmunks that were happening. I don't think it was in the raccoons that they were talking about, but I remember hearing that and thinking, oh yeah, I don't really want that around me. I mean, chipmunks are cute, but yeah, I suppose being around, it's kind of like an E. coli. It sounds like sort of the hantavirus. Yeah.
And I used to really like to eat the squirrels out there with my 410 and 22 when I was younger. I don't do that so much these days. Mm-hmm. I do carry a 22 long rifle with me as well, but I really don't hunt anything anymore.
Oh, I see. I actually grew up eating squirrel. My grandfather was an outdoorsman, and I grew up eating. And I mean, I didn't eat it every day or anything, but in the summers, I would occasionally find myself eating squirrel. And I look at it today, and I think, well, if I'm out in the woods and I'm hungry, obviously that's it's going to be much more palatable to my brain and my senses than if I'm here living in the life of convenience, where I can buy other packaged animals at the store. It's terrible. But, people who someone was Billy Hayes, our own Billy Hayes here who frequents Revolution Radio. He's quite a character, also an amazing expert on so many things that you're interested in. And we all are, HARP and geoengineering, et cetera. And he was talking about roasting a possum, I believe, in an open pit about maybe, 6 months ago, something like that. And our own Seth Michaels was on. I think, I don't know if he was on the call or if he was on in chat, but I was telling him, because he said, "Oh, possum, why would you eat possum when you're in this area with all these cows? You have the best beef on the planet there, or in the country, or some of the best beef in the country." And I said, he said he would never eat possum because it has hooves, or I don't know exactly what the deal is, but I said
I don't know.
I just said, hey, you probably either. But you know what? At a certain time in your existence, if you're hungry and there's possum, chances are you may eat it. That's all.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
So. All right. Cool. Is there anything else, on this subject that you want to discuss? Shout out to Canyon Man. Is he part of the Southwest Backpack people, or is he?
Well, yeah, he is part of them. He's actually one of the founding members of the High Desert Gaming Society.
Okay, the High Desert Gaming Society.
Yeah, and he has been my expedition partner for a couple of decades.
Wow. That's pretty cool. And so, in the gaming society, they are for hire, I believe. Is that correct?
No, it's a private club.
Okay.
Made up of, various people who have experiences around New Mexico, want to take us different places and go on the trips with us.
Cool.
It is.
And so, but the Southwest Backpack is a company that people can hire. Is that right?
No, it's a guy who goes around New Mexico trying products and demonstrating products in the wilderness, backpacks, fire starting techniques, cooking systems, water purification, backpacks. I'm trying to think of sleeping hammocks. He demonstrates all that stuff, and he and I have kind of joined forces, and he's taken me under his wing.
Nice. Well, that's cool.
He's taking me to these places and exposing me to some of the southern things, because we used to mostly spent most of our time in northern New Mexico, where he and his group of people spent in the southern part of New Mexico, and now we're kind of coming together as a group of people and going all over the place.
Cool. Well, he's in chat too. So hello to what is his name?
Oh, it's Southwest Backpacker. That's Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Somebody told him we were talking about him.
Cool. And then Canyon Man's first name is
Roger.
All right.
Yeah.
We have Roger and Matt in the chat, and shout out to you guys. I hope that we can. Well, I will definitely be uploading this archive and giving you guys some. Give you guys some props. So that's cool. Awesome. All right. We don't have a half-hour break. So let's see. What's next? Okay. I don't know. What do you want to get into? There's so much to talk about. What have you covered this week on your show? Let me ask you that. And let me tell everyone again when your show is. It's Mondays and Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern from 4 till 5 p.m. on Studio A here, part of the Liberation Nation team. And we're so happy that you're back to broadcasting here on Revolution Radio, by the way.
Well, I'm getting more comfortable every time that I do it. I hope that it's showing. I talk about things like volcanoes and earthquakes, like the enormous eruption of the Calbuco, Chile volcano.
Yeah, I just saw that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 times now. These are just very explosive, eruptive releases going all across the region. And I kind of predicted that on the last show, that this would be the next place that we would see this wave of magma trying to come up from underneath the crust.
Wow. Okay. And so you came to that conclusion. How? I mean, as a prediction.
Well, listening to Professor James McCanney, one of my mentors, Dr. Paul LaViolette, just a decade of research. And I finally came to these conclusions on my own. About how there are waves beneath the crust of the Earth. The magma moves in rivers and oceans and different densities and different temperatures made of different materials. So, it's flowing underneath the crust. And as it flows underneath the crust is kind of like the fissures and the bays and the backwater where the water isn't as violent as, say, out in the middle of the sea. So this would be like the backwater region of the magma flow is just under the crust of the Earth. So I realized that there is a wave that goes around underneath the crust of the Earth, and you can kind of watch it. It goes around about 3 times a year. You can see how, the activity will sweep across Alaska and Kamchatka and then down through Japan and kind of like a wave through Indonesia, East Java, then Africa. I was talking about the eruption of the 3 volcanoes across Ethiopia and the Democratic Republic of Africa had been erupting, and I thought, well, the next place would be under South America, and I'll be damned.
Wow.
Go ahead. I'm no expert here. Believe me, I'm not. It's just something that I have picked up on that other geologists have also picked up on.
Yeah, that's I think you're an informed human, which I very much respect. And while you claim not to be an expert in this and that, that's fine. It gives me hope that I can pay more attention all the time. And I encourage all listeners and people that will be viewing this archive later, to find yourself becoming more informed about especially about this planet. So now unless I'm wrong, I was listening to the direction of the flow of this magma, and I'm assuming it kind of goes west. Is that correct? Were you saying? Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of follows behind the sun, and that makes sense. Behind the falling and the rising sun. Yeah.
Okay. And so now this particular one that just erupted yesterday, the Kalbuka volcano, was dormant for 4 decades or something?
I don't know, Angela. I didn't go back and look at its history, but that whole area has been volatile for a very long time. Mm-hmm. We have multiple eruptions all over that region, so it really didn't surprise me, but the veracity kind of surprised everyone.
Wow. Yeah, well, that particular volcano was dormant for 40 years-ish, even though that area is very active, as you're saying. And if you guys haven't checked it out, please look at the different graphics, the different photos around the net right now.
There's a 30,000-foot flume that can be seen from Buenos Aires.
Yeah, exactly. And that stuff doesn't go away very quickly. It is not something that just dissipates and doesn't land.
It grounds all the air travel, actually, in the area.
Yeah, I remember.
If you can see it, you can't fly near it. You can't fly. If you can see it, you can't fly.
Mm-hmm. And that lands, too, all over everything. And it takes months, I'm assuming. And it probably, travels across the ocean and just continues to, land. I mean, it's a natural chain of events on planet Earth, for this to happen. So
most of that material is really heavy and falls back to the Earth. It's the microparticles that get locked up in the jet stream. The heavier stuff, falls locally.
I see. And it often looks like snow, sort of.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then, so you just predicted that this week, sort of, kind of, and it happened.
Not really. I was talking about it, and it happened.
Okay.
It's just a good example. Let's say it's a good example.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, if we don't want to go into calling you, a force, a future, fortune teller.
I'm not, the one that started this research. I just kind of followed it and think that it's correct.
Mm-hmm. And then find it your duty to make people aware, I think.
Yeah, talk about these things, if and where we can. Mm-hmm. Like the piezonic energy is a signature of microelectricity that they can see when in a laboratory when you crush two rocks or two bricks together. It creates piezonic electrical signature, and they can actually see that from a satellite.
Okay, and how do you spell that? Is that with a B or a P or?
Piezon.
Piezon.
P-E.
Zonic.
I used to know how to spell that. I'm just stumped right now.
No worries.
I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. I'm just trying to look it up.
Piezonic.
Okay. All right. I will look into it further. I'm coming up with different things with a C. Piezonic. I don't know if that's it. I have no idea. Piezo. Okay. I'll look. I'll keep looking.
It's piezo electricity.
Okay. All right. If anyone in the chat room has a link and wants to post that would be awesome. Okay. So there's that. And anything that you're seeing, what do you think's gonna, erupt next, or what do you see as a possibility?
I'm like everyone else. I'm looking at the San Andreas fault line at the top there, at the San Juan de Fuco fault line at the south and north Gorda plate, and there's actually a volcano emerging there. It's gonna be an island here real soon.
Wow. Okay, and so that's the San Andreas Fault, you said, and it's off the coast, or
the west coast of California, up there, probably around Oregon and Washington will be the trigger point. Somewhere, maybe northern California.
Okay, and it's
somewhere in that 600 miles.
And obviously that is how islands form, would be, unless it's a trash island coming from Fukushima. But but for the most part, islands form because, volcanoes erupt and then basically spew lava, which turns into rock. It's molten rock, and it forms.
It's made of different materials as it melts through and bleeds up through the crust. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it's so hot, it's just grabbing everything with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so. After a long period of time, millions of years or whatever, is it very fertile? Is that area fertile, or is it just rock and barren? And
well, it depends on how much it gets weathered and crushed and broken down.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on the hardness of the basalt. And,
I see.
Sometimes you have with earthquakes, especially, you have upwelling where you might have one plate come up higher than the other. And then you'll have granite and things of that nature, things from deeper in the earth that are pushed up nearer to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You also have that.
Wow. So now that being part of the San Andreas fault line, so there's a possible island that's going to be forming, somewhere off the northern.
330 nautical miles southwest of Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, okay. I actually know someone from Eugene. All right, so that happens, and then how's that going to affect the actual fault? Is California going to fall off the?
It just means that the magma has found a way up, and that it's able to gently relieve itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, by forming an island.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so that entire area, the whole Pacific is obviously one of the areas that you focus on as of late, right? Because we've got that happening, and then of course, the nightmare that never ends is Fukushima. And that's happening in the Pacific. I've heard a few things that you've brought up. I actually have to catch your archives from this week, so I didn't hear the shows this week. But basically, you keep everyone up to date on Fukushima and radiation and acidification. And so I thought maybe we'd get into that for the next, 20-ish minutes before the break. I'm very interested in so what's the latest? What do you got to tell us?
Well, the very latest is a report that came out by professors about hundreds of millions of animals have died recently along the West Coast.
Yeah, hundreds of millions.
Yep, hundreds of millions. It's the worst mortality event ever known, and it has already wiped out 20 different species.
Yeah, in such a short period of time, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's disgusting is what it is.
Yeah, it really is. And,
And it was not necessary.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, obviously. Oh, good. Somebody did post in chat. Thank you, Patrick English, in chat for posting. It's Piezonic, Piezonic. So just jumping back there. I just looked at that in chat. Okay, so, it was unnecessary. Now, what do you I know we're dealing with what is, as opposed to, the conspiracy theories about what else. I mean, we have the irresponsible building of, nuclear power plant on such a volatile area in general. And that seems to be where they are always built, is near,
right.
bodies of water. But also, I mean, there are theories that, that the.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
That's okay.
How long was I muted?
I don't know. It seemed like 30 minutes.
I hit the space button. I'm wondering if that happened. Let's see. So, I was just exploring that.
The Fukushima,
Yeah, and then I was asking if you think that there's a possibility of the earthquake and the following tsunami. Do you think those were man-made? That is a big question. I don't know if you. It doesn't really...
I have thought. Believe me, I've thought about it, and I've looked at the data, when one of my mentors said that was a mini nuke caused that movement in the Pacific Rise there, I was astounded. I was like, what the hell? But they don't make these comments just arbitrarily. He pointed out, look at the seismic register of this earthquake. In every earthquake, you have an S wave and a P wave. or it's a P wave first because P comes before S. So you have a pressure wave and a secondary wave. So the secondary wave, P and S wave. And they are saying that one of the waves was not even present at all. The primary, the P wave was absent. So
wow.
they doubt it was a natural earthquake because they only had the secondary, the S wave in the seismicity. So they have a foot to stand on, but, you know, is the data 100% right? I mean, I still have questions in my mind, but I've heard it said so many times, and I wouldn't put it past the U.S. government or whatever government is controlling the U.S. government.
Right.
Because they talk about tsunami machines and weather wars. They talk about these things incessantly, but claim that they don't do it.
Right. And I think that wasn't there something to do with that Japan had owed, like, you know, I don't know, $60 billion or I can't remember exactly. It might have been million, might have been billion.
It could be true. I have no way to confirm, and you know, I'm very seldomly called in high-level cabinet meetings. So I'm just not on the list.
Yeah. Okay, well, definitely it's a possibility. And the other thing I was saying while I was muted, I think, I'm not sure exactly how long I was muted, and my apologies, was that, you know, you have Fukushima, you know, you have nuclear power plants being built on, you know, very volatile areas in general because they need the water in case of, you know, exactly this. You know, it's a cooling process.
Well, they use the water before there's even an emergency.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's a necessity, you know, for the nuclear power plant, you know, idea, and so that already is just, you know, disaster waiting to happen. I mean, there's really no other explanation for it. So that combined with the possibility of you know, the earthquake and following tsunami not being natural is so sinister. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. So I don't really think we have to focus too much on, you know, if and, you know, how and all that kind of stuff, because we're actually dealing with what, you know. Go ahead.
I would think more of a who. I've been looking at this very seriously for 4 years. Okay. And it had always been my opinion as an American citizen that our government, they look out for us, we can trust them, that they do environmental impact studies, they do ground density studies and geological studies, that they really have their SIT together here, and they know what they're doing, they've done the science, you know, they can show it to us, they can prove it to us, but then they go and they build these things haphazardly. And I have come to the conclusion that they're no different than setting up a chicken farm. No different. They don't operate any differently. They don't care where it is, what impact it has, so long as they're able to quickly produce their product.
Make money now.
Right. Exactly. And they're not making money by selling electricity to your communities. They're making money by processing plutonium and tritium to create hydrogen and nuclear bombs. That's their industry. That's what they're there for.
And it's obviously very profitable, and a lot of, you know, obviously these aren't long-term, you know, thought-out things, except for world domination, world power, etc. You know, keep the rich rich. You know, keep the you know, get rid of all, you know, the gen pop, and you know, I mean, it's truly all tied in. If you really want to go with the who, if we're going to talk about who, it's really all tied into you know, those few families. You know, obviously their names ring true. You know, you have the Rothschilds, you have the you know, the Rockefellers, who are, you know, part of that whole thing, and then you've got your you know, Harriman, that group, that family. You've got the Bush family, you know, and then all of their spawn, et cetera. You know, you've got, and I'm just barely touching.
Well, don't forget that it's all being led by a Zionist agenda of some sort here.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah. Exactly. So, you know,
it's even more than collateral damage. This is a crime against humanity. I mean, they have confirmed they have already wiped out 20 species, and there's another 80 or, you know, 5,400 of them on the list that we are not going to see next year or the year after.
Yeah. Yeah, they're endangered species to the point of extinction. And is that just in the ocean, or is that in the ocean that you're talking about?
That's just along the west coast of the U.S., from Alaska to Baja, Mexico, and probably going much further.
Wow. So these people, the WHO, with their agenda, causing destruction and disaster on a level that is irreparable. What do you think they're getting out of it? What just the things I said: world domination, power, lots of money now. Survival. When
well, they're definitely getting depopulation.
Yeah, they are.
They're definitely getting fear. They're definitely getting entrenched in a tyrannical FEMA and Homeland Security scenario, fusion centers and practice FEMA detention centers, and this Jade Helm thing. It just it reminds me, a couple of years ago, I actually saw a report where they asked the Joint Chiefs at the Pentagon what they thought was the greatest threat facing the United States moving into the future. This was around 2008, and they said civil unrest. And it looks to me as though they have been moving in that direction ever since that time. At least the empirical data shows it. Vehicles on runways and closed car lots and abandoned properties all across America, train loads and convoys of military equipment. It can't all be going to Afghanistan and Iraq.
Exactly. Yeah, there are videos here and there that pop up on YouTube about, where you just see, this incredible amount of transported, tanks and trucks full of God knows what, and drills happening all over the place, stockpiling, equipment, weapons, ammunition, and the likes. And okay, since we're on this topic, what do you think about the Walmart closings? I mean, a lot of people think it's just crazy, because there's a cover story going on that there's, that there were, the employees are unhappy with their work conditions, and it has to do with, workers' rights and that type of thing. It's a kind of a cover story, if you ask me. And I mean, maybe I'm way out there, but, it kind of looks, sometimes if it looks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it might be, it might have an underground tunnel.
Leaves duck droppings all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. It might quack, yeah.
I don't really have enough information to answer the question, but my speculation would be is that what I'm hearing in the chatter, that's probably right. They're trying to consolidate power and make this a base of operation, maybe for the district. I don't know what they're doing. Walmart and corporate mentality, they could be doing whatever, your worst nightmare.
Yeah, and they, of course, now, the corporations have basically more rights than the human, according to the law.
Luthor could be setting up his next laboratory for all we know.
Yeah, him and his buddies, absolutely. Right. And then, I saw a quick post. I was looking at Godlike Productions. I'm just starting to frequent there because there's a lot to sift through in that realm over there. But I saw a one sentence statement that said, why do you think there are so many checkout lines at the Walmart when only a couple are being used? And and it obviously just, it made perfect sense, processing people through situations, a FEMA type mentality. I've seen those videos of, the train station. You got the green, you got, all that stuff. It is.
Well, if you can think about it, they've thought about it. They have people, think tanks and people that's their job. Sit at big tables and drink coffee and, think about ways to make you do things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, or not just coffee. Not just coffee, probably like baby blood.
I have heard, yes.
I mean, it's not funny, but it's probably true. I've really,
Zion, the Zionist agenda, is trying to warp everything that I've been taught to believe, or I've learned in my life. it's completely contrary to any kind of value or moral that I have. And
wow. And do you want to elaborate on the Zionist agenda? We've got about maybe 8-9 minutes before the break.
Well, you think that's wise?
Well, then again, yeah, I suppose not. I mean,
nobody wants to say the word Israel.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. Nobody does.
Nobody wants to go there because you know what could happen to you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I do want to...
your friends and your families.
Right. True. And I do want to also clarify, though, that not all Jewish people are Zionists, and not all Zionists are Jews. So I wanted to throw that out there with my little disclaimer.
Zionists, and
yes.
They think that you're consuming their planet.
Yeah.
Drinking their water, eating their food, breathing their air, and that these are the chosen people to rule all other people.
Mm-hmm. Right. And speaking of drinking the water and eating the food, I know that we're going to get into that next hour. I really hope so.
Yeah.
But in that scenario where the depop happens and there's X amount of hundred of millions of people on the planet at this point,
well, it is happening.
Yes.
But it is happening.
Right. And so I'm saying that, as it progresses and, so you're looking at the elite living underground and, and all their cares and woes have been tended to, et cetera. But I was thinking about it and I'm like, wow, I would not want to be underground with those people anyway. I mean, I don't want to be killed off, but unfortunately, I don't really have a choice. I mean, I'm living on this planet and they've made those decisions and they're in play and in place. But I thought about the survival thing, and sure, for the short term, however long we can survive, if indeed, catastrophic events happen, as opposed to the slow kill, which is already happening, obviously. And both are happening simultaneously. So would I want to survive, and would I want in the dumbs, would I want in the underground situation? And the answer is no, I would not. I would not want to be anywhere near those.
Run free.
Yeah.
Life is good outside.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm not bugging out to some microscopic bacterial infestation in caves in the Ozark Mountains. No,
that's a good.
I'm going to be above ground.
I love it. I think that's cool. Yeah. Cave dwelling, is something that is very, I don't know, it's foreign to me. Sunlight is good, if we indeed still, have that in the future, et cetera. What kind of a time frame do you see happening? We're here now, it's happening. Go ahead.
Oh boy. A couple of years ago, when all this global warming and climate change, I was firmly on the side of global warming is a hoax.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really was.
I was too. I was.
And but looking at the science right now, and it's completely different from the time that we were talking about it, because they were blaming it exclusively on man. Okay, anthropologic, warming caused by human beings, their activity, their SUVs, their lifestyles. Right, yes, all those spheres, blaming it on the people when it was the governments and the industries that we actually have no control over them whatsoever. And then they set up the CDC and the FDA and the EPA to protect them from us. So,
and who? Don't forget about WHO.
But now, in the last couple of years, we're facing newer problems. Okay. That aren't based on speculation and rumor and conjecture. We have some really serious problems.
And some serious proof.
Yes, and Fukushima is man-made. The extinction level event in the Pacific is going to come up and is already crawling up the shoreline.
Absolutely.
The cancer industry is taking off. They have commercials are bombarding the television waves now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. With the touchy, with the feel good, Cancer Centers of America, here's how you can, I hear you, man. I hear you. And it's very
childhood leukemia should not even occur.
Right.
Autism should not even occur. Putting that nasty poison in children's bodies.
Just basically killing them.
Is whole foods, nutritions, and vitamins and minerals, not mercury and adjuncts and half-dead viruses.
Formaldehyde.
Let them play in the dirt like we did.
Yeah, well, that's what's interesting. Although the dirt, is poisonous now too.
Well, yes. Aluminum barytes. We got all kinds of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I look forward.
Soil.
Yeah, oh, good. We're at the break. So I'm just going to take a deep breath. I really look forward to hour number 2 with you, Earthplay, here on Revolution Radio. And everyone, I will be right back.
Rock on.